the CDC has recently come up with new criteria to determine whether people have recovered from COVID. And the rule is pretty simple. It's 10 days since the diagnosis plus at least one day without fever, without using any drugs that lower fever like Tylenol or ibuprofen. So, how does this criteria get applied? Well, there's two potential scenarios that we have to worry about. The first one is someone who gets tested and is totally asymptomatic. In that case, it's 10 days, and if you had no fever during that 10 days, at the end of that time, you're good to go. For people that are symptomatic, we actually count from the time the symptoms start. So what that means is you're not feeling well, you go to the doctor, you get your test done, and the test is positive. That test may not come back 2 or 3 days later. Where do we count? We count from the day that the symptoms start, not the day that the tests start. So it's 10 days from the start of the symptoms until fever has gone away for at least 1 day without taking Tylenol. In some cases, that can be by the end of the 10 days. In others, it may be a few more days, 12, 13, 14, and then your fever goes away, and then you have no more symptoms. And in that individual, then they're good to go. We do have some folks who develop symptoms after their test. So let's just say a family member had been positive for COVID. You go get tested to find out your status, and you find you're positive, but you're feeling fine. 3 days later, you start feeling sick. We don't start counting from the day that the test was done. We start counting from the day that the symptoms start. So that's day 1, symptoms start, and then 10 days after that. And when the fever goes away by itself, 1 more day, and then you're done. So what you can see is different people have to remain in isolation for different lengths of time. In some, it's as short as 10 days. In others, it may be 2 weeks. In others, it may even be a little bit longer. But as long as you keep in mind that 10 plus 1, without using drugs that lower your temperature, I think it's pretty easy and everybody should be okay.